Russia report released, Boris birthday bluster, and linking livelihoods with Liechtenstein. These are the interesting times. Hello all, and my name's Matt Johnson, and welcome to The Interesting Times, a show that takes a weekly swipe at politics right here in the United Kingdom. On Tuesday, the much-awaited Russia report came out, and they found, well, not much, that Russia did attempt to interfere with the 2014 Scottish referendum.
So the question is who is protecting the British public from interference in our democratic process?
Not these guys.
Well, in a nutshell, we found no one is.
Phew. I thought it was these guys. I mean, yeah, I guess having no one protecting the democratic process is bad. But man, it could have been so much worse. And yet, it was worse.
There has, however, been speculation that this report was going to reveal either that Russia had interfered in or sought to influence the referendum. In the committee's view, it's worse than that. The report reveals that no one in government knew if Russia interfered in or sought to influence the referendum because they did not want to know. The UK government have actively avoided looking for evidence that Russia interfered. We were told that they hadn't seen any evidence, but that is meaningless if they hadn't looked for it.
Yep, UK government didn't find any evidence of Russian interference for the same reason I didn't find evidence of Michael Gove showering. Oh, no doubt he's done it. I was just actively avoiding finding any evidence of it. But as I keep mentioning on this show, Boris has got another angle.
What you have here is the rage and fury of the Remainer elite, finding that there is in fact nothing in this report and no smoking gun, whatever.
Nothing to see here. Leave those spies alone. Well, it might surprise no one to learn that wealthy Russian donors have given millions of pounds to the Tories over the last few years to do things like play tennis with Cameron and Johnson, seen here pointing out whose fault the referendum was. You know how some things seem to flash by in an instant, while others appear to drag on forever, grinding on and on like the world's most horrifying car crash in super slow motion? Well, Boris has now been in charge for a year, so he decided it would be a good idea halfway through a devastating pandemic and 5 months away from a no-deal Brexit to do this.
And we've been set the challenge to run through as many key achievements as I can in 2 minutes.
Wait, you've been challenged, have you? By who? I'm calling BS on that one. Actually, I'm calling BS on a lot of things. Okay, first three claims.
We've delivered the biggest cash boost in history for the NHS and enshrined it into law. We've got 12,000 more nurses and 6,000 more doctors working in our NHS. We started work on 40 new hospitals.
Well, the doctors and nurses is actually correct. Yep, I'm as surprised as anybody. Now, biggest cash boost ever for the NHS? Biggest cash boost? Why are we describing funding for our most important institution like the tax returns for a minicab driver? Well, because this way Boris doesn't have to account for inflation. So the actual figure is just over 20 billion, which in real terms was beaten by Brown and Blair's government from 2004 to 2010. 40 new hospitals?
We are delivering the 40 new hospitals, and there will be spades in the ground by 2024.
Or putting a spade in the ground the next 4 years. So you've got 40 new hospitals in the same way I've got an indoor swimming pool. Now, if you want to sit through the entire nearly 2.5 minutes of self-congratulatory spaff fest, be my guest. Be warned though, I just looked at 3 of the claims and shown 2 to be lies. And that is actually a better hit rate than I would have given him credit for. On Brexit, things are really gathering pace now. Yes, we have left an organisation that gave us access to favourable trading deals with the likes of Norway, Switzerland and Liechtenstein. But the good news is we have started formal talks with Switzerland, Liechtenstein and Norway, but without the favourable part, which, lest we forget, will save us 4 whole syllables. Honestly, Brexit has virtually paid for itself. So clocks, chocolate from Switzerland, salmon and Viking helmets from Norway. But what about Liechtenstein? Well, a few unimpressed Twitterers pointed out that Liechtenstein has a smaller population than Bishop Stortford, leading to 2 possible questions. 1, where is Bishop Stortford? And I think you know what the second question is likely to be. But what does Liechtenstein do? Well, with a population of under 39,000, not much, but it's big on culture. It's got 2 theatres, annual guitar festivals. Oh, not sure whether this is relevant for the UK government, but it's reckoned that about 5,000 British investors have approximately £3 billion in accounts and trusts in the country. Finally, he'll be able to see some of the return on that money. Boris has taken the opportunity to promote Brown Britain as he took a trip north of the border. These are the Scottish people welcoming him to the country. And here they are, seeing him off again. And yes, in case you're wondering, that right there is Scotland in the height of summer.
Now, of course, through Barnett Consequentials, put another £250 million into the NHS in Scotland to make sure that we're ready for the winter, because, you know, we've got to be clear that this thing has not gone away.
So what are you doing in Scotland then? At the very least, you could have car shared to done with this guy. And on Tuesday, Boris met with newly formed Commission on Race and Ethnic Disparities. And the privately educated white Etonian, who probably hadn't seen a black person who wasn't on the telly until his teens, gave his blessing to the team on the positive report that the Commission will undoubtedly be delivering on his fine work.
We know that there is an alternative story to be told, and there's an alternative narrative about success and about achievement.
The Commission is headed by Dr. Tony Sewell. Sorry, what I meant to say was the Independent Commission is completely independent and independently headed by the independent Dr. Tony Sewell, who is a close friend of Boris Johnson. He is a controversial character who in the past has said there's no such thing as institutional racism and that absent fathers was the problem with so many young black men getting in trouble with the police. I think it's fair to say we know how this one is going to pan out. And finally, on Saturday, in response to rising cases of coronavirus in Spain, people flying back from there to the UK will now be required to self-isolate for 2 weeks. Short notice meant it caught a lot of people out, including, wait for it, the Transport Secretary, Grant Shapps. So that's the Health Secretary getting poorly over coronavirus, Transport Secretary unable to go anywhere, and the Foreign Secretary is Dominic Raab. So expect him to not have a clue where Dover is. Well, thanks for watching, and if you are enjoying these vids, please do subscribe and hit the notifications bell to make sure you don't miss another. And I'll see you all next Monday. Take care.
Trying to shut down debate by proroguing Parliament. Lost, and the Supreme Court said described his actions as unlawful. Own brother quit the party rather than work for him. Lied to the Queen. Lied to the people of Northern Ireland about being treated the same as the rest of the UK. Lied to the British people about not extending Brexit negotiations and then refused to sign a letter asking for one. Single-handedly responsible for the rising support for Scottish independence, which is likely to lead to the breakup of the Union. Kicked out anybody in the party that disagreed with him. Tried and failed to force through a second vote on his Brexit deal in Parliament. Promised a plan for social care and failed to deliver. Only party leader to avoid Andrew Neil questioning before election and hidden the fridge to avoid Piers Morgan questioning. Since refused to go on GB to face scrutiny. Said that the best thing Parliament could do to honour Joe Cox's memory is to get Brexit done. Block Russia report from being released before the election. Trying to get someone completely unqualified into the Parliamentary Intelligence and Security Committee so they could bury the Russia report. Actively avoided investigating possible Russian interference in our democracy. Taking money from many Russian donors, including one that was behind an ERG plot to oust Theresa May as PA. Gave arms deals to countries with the worst human rights records on the planet, missed 5 COVID meetings at the start of the year in a 3-week period, all relating to coronavirus, presided over the worst coronavirus death toll per million on the planet, tried to implement herd immunity against the advice of the World Health Organization, first leader on the planet to get coronavirus, bought in lockdown late, bought in track and trace later, bought in face masks last Friday in quarantine when nobody was flying, failed to join the EU's procurement of ventilator scheme, promised 25,000 coronavirus tests by the middle of April, failed to meet that promise, 100,000 coronavirus tests by the end of April, and failed to meet that promise, 250,000 coronavirus tests by the end of May, and honestly I think you can see where this is going. Failed to read the report into what actions the government should take in the event of a second coronavirus wave. Wasted £12 million on the track and trace app that didn't work. Prepared to let the poorest children starve until was shamed into doing the right thing by a Premier League footballer, while simultaneously spending £900,000 on printing the Union flag on the tail of a plane and spending £500 million on the wrong satellites. Left the planet's largest trading bloc for trading with the likes of Liechtenstein and Tunisia. Refused to sack Cummings for even getting to apologise for breaking lockdown rules. Blocked England's chief nurse from attending any more daily briefings for failing to back Cummings. Continuous mixed messaging on easing of lockdown stages. Attempted to blame coronavirus deaths on care home workers. Lied about 40 new hospitals being built when only 6 are being upgraded. Voted down legal bid to protect NHS in any upcoming trade talks. Clapped the NHS wouldn't give them PPE or free parking or pay rises for nurses. Wasting money on 400,000 bits of PPE from Turkey, which was useless. Refused to ask for an extension to EU talks to avoid a no deal. And finally, being tone deaf enough to put together a crap, misleading 2-minute video in the middle of a pandemic.
But what COVID has taught us and gets back to your earlier questions about delay and all, COVID has taught me that for too long, this country has moved too slowly sometimes.